So, bottom line, I'd like to welcome you to the 2020 Cross Country Awards. Again, normally we would hold this at a restaurant or a nicer location, but again, we'll take what we can get this year. And it's nice to talk about anything but politics or any of the other stuff going on right now. So, let's focus on the positives. The positives of this season are quite simple. We actually got a season. If you had asked me back in May, is this even a possibility? I would have said absolutely not. To get all the way through the season and to be able to compete, to be able to have the students run and quite honestly have a good time for the shortened season that we did have and train and be successful. It warmed my heart all the way through the fall. It gave me a release from like the normal craziness, and I would hope that you guys all felt the same way. So it was a nice way of kind of getting away from it all, if you will. So I'm super glad that they were able to do it. I'm super glad that we were able to hang out every day. And we couldn't do it without the runners doing the smart thing. They stayed away from each other. I know it's tough for kids that age to actually practice social distancing, but man, they did amazing. They wore their masks without exception. They followed the rules of every single meet that we went to. I could not ask for better students when it came to that. They did the right things. So that allowed us to get from the start of the season to the end of the season. In talking to Licata, we are the only team that didn't have to shut down part of our program because of COVID. Every other team had that problem. Harrison had it right before league meet, which is why they really kind of struggled to piece together a team. Even their coach got it. So, I mean, you guys all did a phenomenal job of keeping yourself socially distant, keeping yourself healthy. So for that, you deserve a lot of credit. And parents, you really took it upon yourself to help out this year, and we could not appreciate it more. We were told at the beginning of the year we weren't going to have a bus, and you all rose up and got your kids where they needed to be, got them there on time, picked them up on time. We moved our practices down to Triple Creek. Nobody complained about it. Everybody just kind of said, that's what we're going to have to do, so we'll do it. So again, we couldn't do this season, and Ficker and I would not have been able to coach the way we were able to coach this year if it weren't for everybody's efforts this year to make our kids successful and to make our program even operational. And I think the kids would agree, not coming up here probably kept us safe all the way through the season, just because we had so many soccer players, football players, volleyball players. We would have had to go through the athletic office, the trainer's office, I should say, to get the temperature check in every day. It would have been a mess. So I do appreciate all the things that you all did to make sure we could get through the season. And again, I would classify it as successful because we got to have a season, regardless of where we finished in the league or where we finished in the district or anything. We got to compete. We got to do well. We just got to do what we just 3 or 4 months ago would have thought was impossible. So fantastic job across the board. I'm going to talk about each athlete. We're going to start with the freshmen. And for those of you new to the program, I always do stupid awards because I always say cross country has the dumbest smart kids ever. And the awards prove that, because there are a lot of dumb things your kids do that you don't see. And Ficker and I get to see it on a day-to-day basis. And you just saw what every practice started with. There was people throwing Frisbees. Every practice started with that. Whether they were throwing it in trees, whether they were running into trees, running into each other, they were always throwing stuff around, proving that there's a reason they run. Because catching was not their strong suit. Throwing was a little rough. So bottom line is, we're going to try and talk a little bit about their effort as well, but we'll talk about some of the dumber things they've done. And if the athlete is here, I'm going to ask him to come down. Vanna White over here is going to give them their awards. They are pre-packaged so that we can do the COVID handoff, if you will. And I'll try and talk about some of the things that are in the packages. The first one is Peter Bungabong. Come on down, Peter. So Peter is new to the program as a freshman. He was kind of talked into it by his brother and other people. And he came willingly, we think. But you want to talk about dedication. He and his brother, we'll talk about that with Francis too. Every single day they left school and walked down to Triple Creek with their violin in tow and about 15 different bags and they were always just a few minutes late to practice because of that, but always came in, always got dressed quickly, got right into stretching, and got out and worked hard. Now Peter worked very hard at practice to get himself better. His times slowly decreased all the way through the season, so that was fantastic. But the thing that sets Peter apart is the fact that Peter never met a stranger. Okay? Here's the thing about Peter. The cross-country starting line is always kind of ridiculous. You know, everybody's tense, everybody's nervous. You know, and especially this year, you only had 5 minutes, you know, and the 5 minutes were literally getting to the staging area, checking in, letting the race officials see if you had everything. Then they'd blow 3 whistles, you take off your mask, you throw it in the bag, you throw it backwards, you get on the line, and you go. So nobody had time to talk except this kid. On the way over to the starting line, he'd just walk up and be like, hey, where are you from? Milford? All right, yeah, good to meet you. Hey, where are you from? Mount Healthy? All right, yeah, good luck, good luck. And I'd be like, who is that? He was like, I don't know. I was like, what are you doing? He was like, wishing him luck. And of course, we'd get to the finish line, and everybody's running up to him. How'd you run? How'd you run? Like, everybody was worried about this kid. But that's what cross country is all about. You know, like, it's a community atmosphere, and he fits in fantastically. So I'm going to look forward to coaching you for the next few years here. So excellent freshman year, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next year. Your first varsity award this year, so congratulations, sir. Next up is Sam Brescher. Sam couldn't be with us today. I'll talk a little bit about Sam, though. Sam is getting the Cross Country Grandmaster Award, or if Bobby Fischer ran award. This is truly cross country right here. The kid would show up to practice, roll out a chessboard every single day, play 2 rounds of chess with his teammates, then start stretching and start running. You know? Then he'd get back, immediately set out the chessboard again and play again. I was like, why are you doing that? He was like, it calms me. Why does it calm me? I don't know, it just does. Okay? But Sam was he worked hard, and all the way through the season we'd work with him about, hey, you know, you need to smooth out your race. You need to kind of iron it out. He had what we call the Aaron Richter problem. I start really fast and then die, and then I sprint to the finish line anyway. Aaron still has that problem, but she just got better at it. Sam kind of learned how to smooth it out a little bit this year, and he finally had a really good race towards the end. And it was funny. He got back and he said, "I think I get this now." So I'm looking forward to see how Sam progresses throughout the 4 years here at Northwest. The next one is Jamie Contreras. Best newcomer. Best newcomer.
Are you going to say that?
Yes, unless you want to.
You need way more work than me.
Oh, for crying out loud. All right, so Jamie, another freshman, another first-year cross-country runner at the high school. Jamie came to us and worked hard from the very beginning. Every day at practice, he worked hard, and even on the days that he felt a little off, he would come up to me and be like, I'll work harder tomorrow. I'm sorry, that was just not good enough. So he was well aware, self-aware of how hard the season is, how much he had to work, and he put in the time and the effort. Now, because of that, he's earning his first varsity award, and he is also our Page Award, which is Best Newcomer, for his efforts. The very first race he ever had at Hamilton, when I looked at him coming into the finish line area and said, hey, you right now are in the top 5, he just looked up, got kind of dialed in, and started moving up as much as he could to finish with the best time and the best placement. Even though it was the first time on the course, he just kind of intrinsically knew he had to fill a role for the squad, which is unbelievably mature for a freshman. Now, the award he is getting the Grand Entrance Award, because every single meet we had, the kids would all kind of congregate at the team area, and every single meet it was, where's Jamie? And his friends would be like, I don't know, I'm texting him. Oh, he's 5 minutes away. I'm like, 5 minutes like 5 minutes, or 5 minutes like Jamie 5 minutes, or like 5 minutes Jamie 5 minutes. And so 20 minutes later, all I'd hear is the team go, hey, there's Jamie, and they'd give him a standing ovation coming in. But that was Jamie. Jamie just kind of took it. He waved. He, kind of took the little ribbon, and then he got on the line and he worked hard. So again, Jamie, you've had a very solid season, and I'm looking forward to seeing how you progress throughout your 4 years here. Well done, young man.
I want to say one thing about Jamie. He's got the quote of the season. Last year was Chucky. First meet last year, I'm like, how you doing, Chucky? When he was running, he just looks at me, he goes, pain. That's all he said. So Jamie's is this year, Wednesday practice, something like that. Maybe it was a speed work day. I said, Jamie, it looks like you're kind of slowing down. He goes, I'm in a little bit of pain. I said, what hurts? He said, everything.
That was the longest conversation we ever had with him, I think.
Good job, Jamie.
The last freshman we'll talk about is Deacon. Deacon isn't with us here today. Deacon is getting his first varsity award. He is also getting our Squire Award for the most improved, because from the start of the year to the end of the year, nobody dropped more time, nobody got better placement on the team and in meets than Deacon did. But he is also getting the It Takes a Village Award, because the amount of parents that you see over there of Deacon, the amount of times they're like, Deacon, you take your allergy medication today? No. Deacon, did you do your homework today? No. Deacon, come on. All right, yeah. I mean, the amount of times that people had to check in, and they started doing our job for us. Just, constantly asking Deacon, hey, did you remember to bring this? Did you remember to do that? So Deacon gets that because, again, they're all kind of raising Deacon right now, which I think Nikolai appreciates, that he doesn't have to be the one that always has to check in with him. The next one is Zoe. Zoe's not here today. She gets the Common Sense of the Team Award because she was probably the biggest parent for Deacon all the way through the season. Constantly checking in with him, constantly texting him, constantly working with him. She is also getting her first varsity award as a runner. She came to us late, but thank God she did, because then the girls got to score as a team. And she worked really darn hard. And at the end of the year, she felt really good because she was running with Abby, and that was a big boost to her self-esteem that she was able to get to that point. And again, she's pretty tough, as most cross-country runners have to be. She was running on a ankle that she had broken recently. I mean, that's tough to come back. So her first race, she was literally running and tearing out that scar tissue. And it was weird. I pulled her off the course and I said, you don't need to finish this. And she just kept on saying, I feel like I let everybody down, which is just her kind of mental toughness, that she's literally tearing tissue in her ankle, but then feels like she's still kind of not doing enough for everybody. She recovered quite nicely, and she fought through that pain all the way through the year. So without her, again, the girls would not have scored. So we can't say enough about that. The next one is Chucky Richter. Chucky is the only runner on the team getting his second year cross-country award. So he's getting a pin this year. But Chucky is also getting a weird award. He is getting the Most Likely to Travel in a Pack award. Now, the reason he's getting that is there was not a single practice where we did not see him walking, running to practice, whatever else, without being with somebody else. He was always walking with some random female or friend Sam, or somebody else. And he'd come into practice like, who's that? He was like, a friend. Like, do you ever walk by yourself anywhere? He's like, no, it's boring. But he was always with other people. Even at cross-country meets and practices, he was always with other people. Now, because of that, we are giving him the Sportsmanship Award. Now, I take the Sportsmanship Award very seriously because it's named after a friend of mine named Robin Burbrink. She used to be the assistant AD and the AD for a while. Years ago, it was named after her because nobody promoted the idea of being a knight and being a quality individual more than she did. And so the Sportsmanship Award is named after her for a reason. He earned it by leaps and bounds this year because he was definitely the one on the team that was always checking in, making sure people were okay, making sure people were performing well, feeling good. He was fantastic at being a friend to the team. So again, that's why he's getting the Sportsmanship Award and his second cross-country letter. Congratulations, Chucky. Moving on to the juniors, Francis Bungbong. Francis probably already knows exactly what his stupid award's going to be. Francis was by far the most communicating runner we ever had. He reaches out all the time to let you know what's going on. Over the summer, he was just like, hey, I went on a trip, so therefore I'm going to quarantine for a little while before I come to practice. Just wanted to let you know. Halfway through the quarantine, I got another email. Hey, just reminding you, I am not coming because of this, but I am training. Francis, I know, man, and I appreciate it. Last day, he was like, hey, tomorrow I'm going to be there because my quarantine's up. It's just every single time that he needed to, he reached out, which I'm not going to complain about. That's fantastic. But by far the funniest reach out we got was on the first meet day. We're sitting there, where's Francis? Where's Francis? Somebody gets a text and goes, well, he'll be a little late. He has to eat breakfast. He won't leave until he eats breakfast. So he is getting breakfast is the most important meal of the day award for making us wait. And when he showed up, I said, how was breakfast? He was like, it was fine. It was really good. And then he went out and ran really well. So we're like, hey, just eat breakfast. Make sure you always eat breakfast before you show up because you ran pretty well today. He was like, thank you. I mean, it was just that those are always the very nice, little pleasant conversations we have. But he was dedicated to the sport. He was dedicated to his teammates. And he was dedicated to making himself better all the way through the year. He gets his first varsity award because of that. Congratulations, young man. Next one is Lindsay Rohrig, who couldn't be with us today. Lindsay is probably not here because she's involved in more things than I can even count. So she is getting the Human Weekly Planner Award because nobody is more stressed about where she needs to be, when she needs to be there, how she needs to be there, and how prepared she needs to be there. She is also super organized about everything, communicates about everything, and got to the point where it's just like, oh, it's Wednesday, it's band day. Oh, it's Thursday, it's show choir. Oh, you know, she has work today. There was never a question about where she was and why she was missing, or where she was and why she was going to be late. She was always fantastic about that, and she worked her tail off all the way through the season. Again, it's tough to be out there when you know full well that you're going to be at the back of the pack many times in a varsity race. It was really unfair to her that in a lot of those races, we were running against teams that had 7 girls that were, on track to be at regionals or whatever else. And there she is completing a varsity squad, but she never gave up. And the sign of a true cross-country champion is when I looked at her and said, hey, district meet we really don't care all that much about. It's up to you. They're pretty stringent about that half-hour cutoff. Do you still want to run? Because you're not going to offend me if you say no. And she goes, I finish what I start. And it was just, that's fantastic. That's the kind of kid that you love in cross-country. Doesn't matter the placement. You're going to finish, and you're going to finish with pride. And she always did. She earns a varsity letter for doing so. Abigail Sears. Abigail earns her first varsity letter in cross country. She was absolutely tough as nails from the moment she got into the sport. She's dedicated to both her studies and to the sport of cross country. She is, because of that, earning our Page Award, which is our best newcomer. You were by far the best newcomer on the girls team, which is saying quite a bit because there were 3. And your dedication was fantastic. But your Dumb Award is going to be the most photogenic runner award, which she knows that was probably going to be it. First meet, I was approached by Mr. Gillian, our yearbook supervisor, and said, look, I can't send people to take photos at cross country or any sporting event this year. I need somebody to take photos. So I gave the camera to Kyle, and because Kyle was hurt. And I said, Kyle, I need you to take photos of her. Well, Kyle's standing right next to me. She comes around the corner at Hamilton, and I'm yelling, come on, let's go, Abby, let's go. She looks up, biggest smile in the world, and just starts nodding. And I said, why are you smiling? She, just like, this isn't fun, run harder. And she got done, and she was like, no, I was hurting, but when people yell at me, I just smile. That's what I do. And that was true all the way through the season, no matter what we were saying to her as she was running, smiling, beaming. Just, you would never guess that she was absolutely in pain. So bottom line is all throughout her life, she's going to fool doctors and family members because anytime she's in pain, huge smile, every single time. So absolutely well done this year. I know we messed around and made fun of you for that, but that was phenomenal to coach you this year. So well done. And again, another varsity award for you. So congratulations. We hope to see you back next year. The next one is Luke Chapin. Luke can't be with us here today. I'm going to let Ficker handle this one. He's getting the Never a Dull Moment Award. Ficker seems to understand him better than I do, which is saying something.
Yeah, I get Luke. Yesterday or Friday when I was leaving school, pulled out, and I see some kid on the grass, like bent over, looking into a sewer pipe. I knew that was Luke. I mean, that's the kind of stuff he does. He's interested by the strangest things, but I get that. One meet, it was the Edgewood meet, and he's sitting there looking at the building, and there was a ladder that goes all the way to the top of the building. And I'm like, I know he's thinking about that ladder. And he was. He goes, you think we can climb up that ladder and get on the roof? I'm like, no, Luke, we're here to run, but I understand that. So he's just got a different way of looking at the world, and I really, really appreciate that because I think he's really funny. We found him last year. Once a year he climbs a tree, and he gets like 10, 15 feet up into the tree, and he's just in his own world. We should call him Unicycle Man because he rode his he has a unicycle, and he rode it to practice 4 or 5 times, and he demonstrated to us how good he is on a unicycle. So what a guy! What a guy!
He kept Ficker entertained, if nothing else.
Yes.
Nikolai Johnston. All right, so Nikolai's getting his 3rd varsity letter this year, so he's on track for a 4-year award, as was Luke for that matter. So they've been putting themselves through pain for 3 solid seasons at this point. Nikolai has been either 2nd or 3rd on the team pretty much throughout the season. He is constantly, he's kind of the only one really at practice that can push Josh, so that was a godsend to have somebody at least to push him a little bit here and there on some of our speed work drills. And Nikolai, of course, works very hard and is a team player. But as you saw on display just a little bit, he's getting the future Ultimate Frisbee MVP because his passion seems to be in throwing a Frisbee and diving. He's the only one that'll dive out for it. Everybody else is too smart for that. Nikolai goes full bore no matter what. I think it's the hair serves as maybe a cushion. But bottom line is he's kind of fearless with that kind of stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing you as a senior and as a leader of this program. I think you've learned a great deal from the seniors this year, so it's kind of in your hands next year, young man. So again, a fantastic job this year, and I'm looking forward to seeing you break into the 19s and even maybe the 18s next year if you get your head screwed on right. Okay, so absolutely well done. Congratulations, young man. Now we move on to our 5 seniors. And all 5 of these seniors have been together since 7th grade doing this. So they put themselves through 6 years of pain, torture, misery, and laughs. We'll throw that in there. All of them are earning their 4-year varsity award, which we're the only sport that has every single senior playing and earning a varsity letter for all the years they were part of it. No other sport can boast that. So it shows a testament to their dedication, shows a testament to their courage about getting out there and fighting through pain. Many of them had plenty of pain to fight through throughout their 4 years here. We'll start with Kyle, who couldn't be with us here today. He is getting the Everybody Knows Your Name award merely because, and this has nothing to do with cross country, all the way through this year, we have been trying to make contact with people about, sports, activities, whatever else. And every person in that school that I said, hey, we're trying to get you in for orchestra, and they would say things like, well, I'll go for Kyle. Like, why do you know Kyle? Everybody knows Kyle. All right, fine. And then we talk about like, hey, maybe you should think about joining academic team. Yeah, I know Kyle. Like everybody that I've talked to this year, their common chord, if you will, is Kyle. And he's like that in cross country too. You will not find a single person that has a bad thing to say about that young man because he's just such a quality individual. And really a leader, a quiet leader, but does the little things right to make sure that everybody knows how dedicated he is to his friends, to his teammates, to his school, to his studies, you name it, he does it. He's earning his 4-year varsity award, and for the 4th year in a row, he's also a scholar athlete for both the school and the conference, which, by the way, is most of our seniors as well. So we've done pretty well on that score as well. So again, Kyle, I can't say enough about the young man. He works his tail off. We're definitely going to miss him next year, but Kyle Thomas deserves a round of applause for his efforts. Eric Quinn. Okay, so in 8th grade family night, I always set up a little table, and I try and introduce myself to the 8th graders as they come in along with their families. And that was the first time that I had met many of the families that are sitting here today. The Quinns are definitely part of that group. And I remember Mrs. Quinn looking at me and saying, "This is Eric, good luck." That's not verbatim, but that's pretty much the tenor of what the conversation was. And you know, we had some rough times throughout there. Mrs. Quinn and I have had plenty of conversations about the direction he's going. But Eric, I can tell you this right now, in 4 years, I've never seen somebody rise to the occasion the way you have, okay? Where you started and where you are right now are completely different levels of reality, okay? You were not as serious about your studies at the beginning. Now you've found that purpose, and you've got direction, and that is phenomenal to how quickly you've adapted. You did the same thing with running. You told me freshman year, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this for 4 years because my knees are terrible, and I'm always tired, and I'm always hurt. And here you are, your senior year, and you're working your tail off, and you're getting through the season without really too many bumps and bruises. You know, you did pretty well this year. You know, I didn't hear as much as you did as I did earlier in. So you did better with your training. You did better with taking care of your body, and that was with working multiple jobs and trying your best to kind of keep your stuff straight with school and whatever else. He's adapted very well to all the things that have come into your way, both this year and all the way through your high school career. And Eric, I'm telling you right now, you've got a bright future in front of you because, like many of your teammates, you've never met a stranger. You're very friendly to the people. You are fiercely loyal to your friends and your teammates, and that says a lot. And because of that, you are getting the Selfless Teammate Award. Okay? Normally I make fun of you, but this year you rose to the occasion because there were teammates that needed you to step up for them, and you did. You know, if I said there was a practice where he was just not feeling very well, he was having an off day, and I said, "Is there any way you can run with Lindsay?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'll run. I got it." I was like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "I got it." And not only did he run, I know he annoyed at Zoe and Abby because right behind them, he was screaming at Lindsay, "You got this, you can do this," running. And like Lindsay for the first time was literally right behind Zoe and Abby. And Zoe and Abby got done, and Abby is too nice to say anything, but Zoe was like, "Please God, don't ever make Eric do that again." I was like, "Yeah, but you were faster." She was like, "Regardless, don't ever let him do that again." But that's the kind of person he is. He's fiercely loyal to the people that he loves and he cares about, and that says a lot about you as an individual. So excellent work. You're getting your 4-year varsity award as usual. I can't say enough about how far you've come as an athlete, as a student, as a man. So well done to you. Okay. Aaron Richter. Okay, the seniors also have stuff in common where you will not find too many teachers in the building that will not speak just chapters about how wonderful they all are. And Aaron, you are by far one of the students that I could go in that building and find teachers that would run through a wall for you because of how hard you work and how dedicated you are, okay? It's a common theme through all of the seniors about how dedicated you are to your friends, your teammates, and no exception right here. You are fiercely loyal to people that you love and care about, and that goes without saying with this program. She steps up in every single way you could possibly imagine. She is a leader through and through. She is dedicated to the things that she is passionate about. And again, I can't say enough nice things about how hard you work and how dedicated you are. She had a rough start to this season. COVID did not treat her well when it came to quarantine and when it came to prep for the season. So it was a rough start to the year, but man, did you turn it on. And man, did you work your way through. She was the one that was coming back saying, "All right, I got to go out for another half mile. Hey, time me in this mile." You know, it was always, I need to do extra. I need to be solid. I need to be ready. So that kind of dedication is so hard to find. And because of that, you are our Squire Award winner this year for your hard work and dedication because, again, where you started and where you finished were completely different. And that was all mental toughness out of you. Absolutely, without question, you are one of the most mentally tough individuals I've ever had in cross country, and that includes the girl that didn't have any hips last year, okay? So you're right up there with her when it comes to how tough you were in rising above and getting that extra level. I talk all the time about finding that extra gear. This year she did. Now on the more ridiculous side, she is getting the best first step in the race award. For those of you that weren't at SWAC, same deal. We get on the line. It's very quick. She gets everything, throws the mask back. She's up on the line. She's all amped up. She cannot wait. They blow the whistle 3 times. They raise the gun. Gun goes off, and she goes right down. I'm like, did she just fall down? Vicker's like, yeah, but she got up and rallied, and it was just, we get done. And I was like, what happened? She's like, I don't know, but I got up. And it was just like, okay,
That was the first meet where there was dew on the grass.
Yes.
Is what it was. And her first step just went out from underneath her. She face planted. But God love you, got up and just ran.
And I just thought it was so funny because, the coach from Talawanda, who the kids know I hold in very high esteem, he's a very nice man, and his team's very accomplished. He ran up during the race and said, that girl's tough, man. She fell down and got right back up like it was nothing. And I was like, yeah. He goes, kind of calls into question those race officials, because don't they always say within the first 100 feet they hit the gun again and they're going to restart because somebody fell? And I was like, nah, Erin would just be ticked off at that. She doesn't want to be the person that causes. I was like, technically she never got out of the box, so first 100, but that's you in a nutshell right there. When you fall, you get right back up and you become that much tougher to beat. So that's going to be just a phenomenal kind of way to live your life. And I wish you nothing but the best as you move on. You're just a phenomenal kid. Okay, fine. She has to go back to work, so we got to speed it up. Michelle Mancini. Continuing on the mental toughness, there are students that come along where you just look at them and say, you know what, they're going to be successful no matter what. And Michelle, you're one of those people, because I think you would agree, last year was rough. Mentally, physically, this girl last year was constantly, what do I need to do? How do I need to fix this? How do I need to get better? And sometimes you just have years where it just doesn't click. So I need to tell you, Ficker and I this year were rooting so hard for you because you took it so seriously last year. And this year she walked in and said, I'm just going to let things be as they are. I'm going to try not to get stressed. I'm going to let things go. I'm going to let things roll off. It's fine. And it worked, because you were by far, from the word go, you were our #1 runner this year. And you competed with some of the best runners in the SWAC. Runners that you were not even close to last year, you were with and sometimes passing. So you did a phenomenal job of recovering from junior to senior year, which is so difficult in cross country, okay? You were a leader of the team. You took the role from Leah Kistner and literally ran with it. Those are tough shoes to fill, and you did very well with that. I never had to worry about whether people were stretching, whether people were taking things seriously, whether people were in the right mindset. But the one thing that I found interesting about Michelle this year is she is getting the Best Monologue Award. Every once in a while, you could always tell when she was stressed. In the past, we would always be like, man, I don't know what's up with her. I think she might be stressed, but you'd ask her, is everything okay? I'm fine. It was very quiet. She would start stretching, and you'd never get a word out of her. That's how you knew she was stressed. This year, you knew she was stressed when she would start talking to herself. She took a page out of Erin Richter's book, not as creative as Erin, because Erin's had some pretty creative monologues about Denny's and the devil. Please don't ask, because I went down that rabbit hole last year, and it was just not a good place to go. Michelle would start off on this long diatribe, and you would just sit there, and she'd keep going, and she'd keep going, and she'd keep going, and you'd get done and be like, Michelle, you good? She's like, I'm good now. And then she would go off and run and be fine. But it was always just this weird, and then this teacher did this, and that's okay. I understand it, but still. And it was just, everything was her own little conversation. I guess that was just her compartmentalizing her life. But man, it was entertaining to hear you do that, especially during stretching, because sometimes stretching would go 15, 20 minutes merely because she'd get lost in her monologue and forget to switch. And there were guys that would be like, hey, we need to switch to the right. She was like, do it on your own, let's go. And then she'd keep going. So it was fantastic to watch you kind of deal with the stress and the craziness of this season. You are by far our best runner on the girls' side this year, so you are our team MVP, you are our night award winner, and also a 4-year varsity award winner. We're going to miss you so much next year, along with the rest of your teammates, your seniors, your special group, and we'll definitely miss you guys. But Michelle, I wish you the best. I always make fun that when I write letters of recommendation that I have to be somewhat creative. I didn't have to be creative with this one. This one was absolutely, I couldn't say enough nice things. You know, I had to end at a page because I could have gone on for at least a book. So well done to you this year. We wish you the best.
Because I want to say one thing about Michelle too. We have this run that we do. It's our hill run. We run up Crest, and everybody hates it. I love it. I run with them. I love it. And when we get, it's about a mile. Say about a mile, almost completely uphill. And we're running up there, and everybody's kind of like not dropping like flies, but they get up a quarter mile and they're like, I gotta walk for a little bit. I watched Michelle. She ran the whole thing. Got to the top. I caught up to her. I'm like, Michelle, you ran the whole thing, and she basically responded with, well, why wouldn't you? I'm like, wow, that's great. That is great. Tough.
I tried. Thank you.
And last and least, Ackerman. Okay, the performance side of thing goes without saying. He's a 4-year varsity. He's been our best runner for the better majority of that. This year it paid off. He was first team All-SWAC. He absolutely became the guy that set the tone and pace for our practices. I mean, again, I can't say enough. You are definitely the team MVP. Now, of course, you did all that on applesauce and pretzels. This kid, I don't know what it is. I mean, I made fun of your sister for always eating the crappy little gummy worms and all that kind of stuff, and you do too, for that matter. This kid, his freshman year, had a stash of them in the wrestling room. He hid them behind a speaker. You know, he's been an interesting character, to say the least, but the thing that sets him apart is the amount of times that he will show up at the starting line sipping a cup of applesauce. You doing well? He's like, I'm doing great now. You know, like every runner has their quirks, and he definitely had that. This year, of course, they did their yearly trip down to Speedway to get God knows how much sugar and sweets, and God knows. He and Kyle were sitting there playing chess. It seemed to be a common theme, and he was eating a bag of pretzels. I said, pretzels, huh? He goes, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need any of that garbage. You know, so everything kind of was Zen-like so long as he had those two things. Everything was fine. But again, I can't say enough about your hard work and your dedication. It's tough to be the guy that is just that much better than the rest of the team, because you're trying to pull the team along, but you're also trying to get yourself better. And really, the sad thing is our shortened season this year really did a detriment to you, because had you been able to have about 3 or 4 meets, that was the one thing that I lamented about being late to the game, getting us into meets, is you needed those extra weeks to kind of set your pace for districts. So COVID kind of took that from you, and I apologize. It's not easy to watch your season become shortened and kind of cheat you out of things. But man, you have a bright future. I look forward to talking with you about the college search, and especially if you're planning on running, which I assume you are, because we'll work as hard as we can, Ficker and I both, to get you in and work with coaches on that end. But you have a tremendous amount of potential, even as a student, which pains me to say, like you wouldn't believe. Okay. Also a 4-year scholar athlete, as again, many of our seniors are. So again, phenomenal effort all the way through your time here. Okay. And again, our night award and a 4-year varsity letter winner. And if I could ask the Ackermans to come down here, please. Mr. and Mrs. Ackerman. don't know about that.
You'll miss the kids more than you'll miss us.
Not too sure about that.
Well, I'll miss Paul.
Fair enough.
Okay, for the better part of a decade now, I've always had an Ackerman on the roster. This is the end of the road for the Ackermans when it comes to having their children on a roster, but I know full well it's not the end of their time being involved at Northwest. They've been phenomenal boosters for our program and for the school. I've appreciated. Nothing says these two like a few years ago. Because of their efforts, we were able to take a trip north, which we, of course, had canceled this year because of COVID. But a few years back, we're up in northern Ohio, and I can't even remember why I had to call Kathy, but I had to call Kathy for some reason. And while I'm on the phone, I hear a crowd in the background. Now, here it is. They're two older kids. You know, I've got, their oldest is no longer with the program. I've got, their kids. In fact, actually, at that point, I think I had all three. Okay, so I had all three with me. They have the home to themselves. There's not a kid in their house. And I give them a phone call, and they're up here working the boosters in the concessions. I was like, Kathy, what are you doing? She was like, well, just earning a little extra cash for the program. I'm like, Kathy, you had a Friday night to yourself. There's nobody at home. You can go to bed on time. What are you doing? She was like, well, we would have gotten bored otherwise. I'm like, dear Lord, they're just that committed to making sure our program had the resources, that our kids always had the opportunities, and we can't thank you enough for everything you've done for us. We can't thank you enough for, gifting us your children, because all three of them have been phenomenal kids. Cover your ears, because I don't want you saying it ever again.
But go to that one, Sid.
You have literally given 3 children 2 hips, and a phenomenal set of hair. He loves his hair, so we'll give him that to our program. We can't thank you enough. And this is just something we hope that shows our thanks for all your efforts and for your dedication to us and our program. Ficker and I couldn't do it without you. We really couldn't.
Thank you very much. We appreciate everything from you guys.
Very unexpected. Thank you. I don't like being sent everything.
Yes. Okay, again, we need to get Richter back to work, and obviously other people have things to do today. I appreciate you coming out again. I appreciate you.
It's your turn.
No?
It's got glitter.
Yeah. Richter, did you just fall down the steps?
Don't worry about it. We're happy. You didn't see it? You don't got proof?
Okay. Hi. For you.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, this
Thank
one's
you.
for you.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't even like it.
So we spent how many hours? 6? Sure.
Yeah.
He kept playing Minecraft.
Is that glitter?
Turn a little bit so
Maybe.
we can see you all.
Yeah. So we may or may not have been like, oh, we need a gift. And I hate to take credit for this idea, but I sadly have to. And we decided we'd make a lovely picture book of our 4 years together for you. You can flip through.
Give
At
it-
your own will.
it's got glitter. You know me and glitter.
There's not many pictures of sophomore year because nothing happened sophomore year.
We also left commentary. You'll figure out who's talking.
Look how young you guys are. Hey, Kyle. Looks like a little boy.
And you'll probably find little messages throughout the more you read it, but yeah.
It took a lot of time.
See, I have proof that you guys were smiling during your time here.
You looked really proud in one of those pictures from sophomore year. Is that Squawk when we beat Edgewood? You're like, oh.
We did it last.
Well, thank you guys. I do appreciate all your efforts. I appreciate you guys. I wish you all the best of luck. You know full well that if you ever need anything, we're here for you. Maybe not
This is
Ficker, I don't know.
This is awesome.
He's distracted by
Good, a picture of a cape.
We had to
The
take
cape is in
many
here
breaks
several
making
times.
this.
I'm sorry?
We had to take many breaks
Because
making
someone
this.
had to go farm their melons on Minecraft like 100 times.
Yeah.
I have to go take care of my melons.
I was in the middle of a recurring competition for once an hour that lasts for 20 minutes, so I had to go do that.
Lord,
Glitter all over my head.
you're all special.
Yeah,
I put the
Aaron
glitter
found
on
the
the
glitter,
paper.
and that was when
Oh,
it went
there's a
down
picture
south.
on the back thing.
Oh.
Michelle said don't use the glitter.
Yeah, I literally did. Wait, hold on. Hold on.
Oh yeah, there's a picture.
There's a present for you on the back.
Pleasant.
Pleasant.
Oh, dear Lord.
What? Can you guess the picture?
Yeah.
What's the story behind
We
this?
got that from Chris. We had to get that from Chris.
Oh yeah. Wait, guys.
Oh, dear God.
Guys, we have to sing happy birthday. It's someone's birthday.
Oh yeah.
Almost. Ready?
Not yet.
Almost.
We don't care. We're singing it anyways. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
Cha cha cha.
Happy birthday to you.
Cha cha cha.
Happy birthday, dear me.
Cha cha cha.
Happy birthday to
You'll
you.
miss this even though you'll never admit it.
Starting to hear why only one of you is in choir.
Yeah.
Church choir.
And I do appreciate the picture because that might be framed.
Yeah, that, you know, we actually had to go to Chris to get it because none of us had it anymore. So we had to get
No,
Chris to
Chris.
send it to us.
Right here, Dan.
Yeah.
So what is the story?
I'm sure Josh was being his special self.
It was freshman year, and then we were sitting there warming up, and I wasn't doing anything, so I was just sitting on the bench.